What is up, everybody? Solomon here. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Monday. It has been a while since I've made a video, but I felt the necessity to do so today. First and foremost, if you see any scam ads on this video, please do not participate in those. Now, I saw this today. Real quick, Bitcoin user pays $80,000 transaction fee to send a little over $1 worth of Bitcoin. Now, this was certainly an error on the user's part here, but still, this just goes to show a couple of different things. Number one, from a utility standpoint, I do not believe that proof of work in Bitcoin is the future. Number two, from a user error standpoint, everybody needs to be very cognizant of what we're doing in this space. Anytime that I ever send any transaction across anywhere, I always do an incredibly small amount, making sure that I have everything correct, and then I will go ahead and complete my actual transfer. So always do your due diligence and vet out everything in this space, including yourself, whenever you're trying to send your digital assets from one place to another. Moving along real quick, I wanted to touch base on this. This is something that I've been trying to do more so on Patreon, which is probably why you see me a little bit less and less on YouTube. Also, I've just been crazy with work lately, but I'm trying to find digital assets that are low caps, potential, whatever you want to call them, whatever X gains that you want to call them, and, trying to present that information for people as to the best of my ability. This is Alliance Block, if you were not aware. I may go into a deeper dive with this with Darren later this week, but they have integrations with Chainlink, Quant, Ocean. They're essentially trying to bring about the first regulatory compliant centralized finance mesh with DeFi across the board here. So I presented this on Patreon on December 6th or the 7th, and it was at like 6 cents. It went up to 20 cents yesterday. Obviously, these parabolic moves are not sustainable. However, this is just one of the things that I'm trying to do, trying to find things like this, because they are still certainly out there. Now, that is not to say that I'd ever trade out of any assets that I have long-term bags with into things like this, because it's extremely high risk. However, you can, if you do your due diligence and research, find things. I will not make the same mistake that I made with Sora, which is SORA, where I did 2 videos on it and posted to Twitter about it back in 2019. When the coin was released, it was like $2, less than $2, and right now even it's like $110, $120. So that's certainly not going to be a mistake that I try to make twice. Hence what I'm trying to do right now. I do plan on finding some more, hopefully finding some more positive ones on that platform. All right, real quick, the stimulus deal. I saw this today. What's in it for you? So I guess there was an actual agreement and a finalization of this new stimulus. Essentially, the thresholds that you need to be under to be able to receive this $600 payment. An individual would need to make less than $75,000 a year. A head of household would be less than $112,500. A couple or somebody that unfortunately had their spouse die in 2020 would need to earn less than $150,000 a year to be able to receive this $600 a year. And then for any dependents, children, that's another $600. So just paying attention to this. And apparently from what I've read, that certain stimulus payments could be out before the end of the year. I am not an advocate saying that I'm an advocate or not an advocate for these stimulus payments, but the government certainly had their role to play in shutting certain things down. So obviously, I personally don't know how some people have survived in these multiple shutdowns. I don't know how small businesses have done it either. Of course, everybody has our opinions on that, so I don't really want to get into the political aspects of that, because it's a catch-22 really, no matter which way you look at it. But these stimulus payments are coming. I saw this today, and this really, really made me angry. Sued into oblivion. Ledger users threaten legal action after data dump. If you are not aware, personal data buying these ledgers from Ledger, Ledger Nano S, Ledger Nano X, from Ledger, all of that information basically was hacked. All of the people's personal information addresses, phone numbers, all of this has been hacked. And they dumped all of the information, including people's physical addresses, onto the internet. And I think this happened yesterday at some point. And the response that Ledger has given is just completely not okay, in my opinion. So I wanted to first and foremost say, if you guys have any recommendations for different cold storage wallets, different hot storage wallets, whatever that you potentially use that you've had good success with, feel free to comment down below. This is nonsense to me. I was a Ledger user. I am certainly not going to be one anymore. And their CEO responded stating that no compensation will be given because it will kill the company. Yeah, well, that's great. But, people have been receiving physical threats based on this from what I've seen. And it's just not the way to do business. I have no idea why they would have people's physical addresses readily available to be hacked, regardless of how they got hacked. So essentially, you've got like a little under 300,000 people that are fully doxxed at this point, which is, that's nonsense. It's not the way to do business. I personally will not. I have multiple different ways of storing digital assets, but I certainly won't be dealing with Ledger from this point on. In my opinion, that's just me though. All right, now for the rest of this, I'm going to do a little bit of a rapid fire, and I just want to present to you what some of these larger organizations are doing, and it's the same thing across the board. This Great Reset initiative that we've heard about, that we see across all of these major institutions, all the major banking institutions, all the major powers that be across the board, this new digital new normal that's coming out is certainly in the end about control, in my opinion, which is a little bit scary. I've stated that in the past, but I also believe that, if it's, what did they say? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making the world believe that he didn't exist, right? So, but this is definitely coming. This Great Reset, this global type thing is definitely coming. It deals with a couple of different things. It's certainly, they'll try to state that the issues we've had over the past year are going to be changing the financial ecosystem across the board. But really, it's digital assets, it's blockchain, it's that is what is really driving this innovation. That's what's really kickstarted this innovation as well. Stating rhetoric for why this needs to happen, it's just one more catalyst for it to happen. We've got right here the Asian Development Bank, blockchain technology for paperless trade facilitation in Maldives. This was announced. I didn't find any specific projects mentioned in this, but it's a 50-page document. It just came out overnight. Now we move forward here. European Parliament. So this is the EU. And this is interesting because I happened to catch one of To the Lifeboat, Sam's videos today. He gets way more political than I do. I disagree with him on a lot of things as well, but he's still, his videos that he does are very well thought out, at least, and he does do his research into what he's about to present. So regardless of your opinion on him and on the political stances or whatever, I respect him from a research standpoint, and he vets out a lot of the stuff that he does. And this is, what if blockchain could guarantee ethical AI from the EU? He had mentioned that the IMF essentially was going to be utilizing AI for tracking your internet search history for like social credit scores, which is like absolutely crazy. And I know he mentioned it as well, and I know Darren mentioned this to me. There's essentially going to be new regulations for KYC AML, which is Know Your Customer, anti-money laundering, for Darren, I think, told me that it was like anything over $2,000. I know Sam mentioned like $250 plus. That's not surprising to me. We're going to see, when everything goes digital, which it essentially already is, right? Even from a financial standpoint, and everything runs via digital dollars or whatever they may be, or through digital assets, KYC and AML requirements are going to be triggered, because that is what this really, unfortunately, is all about. It's about control. It's about tracking what we are doing on a day-to-day basis, on an hour-to-hour, on a minute-to-minute basis. And that's really what this gets down to. It gets down to freedom. However, there's certainly going to be digital assets that skyrocket due to utility that are tied into this system. And like I said before, it's unfortunate that some of these things are happening, but it's happening. And I certainly will try to profit off of something like this if it happens, which it is. So this is what if blockchain could guarantee ethical AI. The other one that Sam had mentioned was via the IMF, which I'm assuming is more recent as well. Now we can see Accenture here. I'm going to leave you with this real quick. This is Accenture Global Trade's new normal. How can banks react? And this is just a really kind of take a step back and look at what Accenture's blog is as far as banking is concerned. And we can see what the past month is here. So this is digital identity in the post-COVID era. This is biometrics. This is really what this ties into. But go down through their latest blogs. 4 key principles in the future of banking. Global trade's new normal, how banks can react. A closer look what central bank digital currencies mean for banks and non-banking firms. Digital identity, again, that was from their main picture there. Outside in lens, catalyst driving change in banking. Understanding central bank digital currency. Global trade's new normal and what it means for banks. This is like the entire month of December filled with digitization, digital ID. This certainly ties in with blockchain. If you are not aware, Accenture is the renewed real-time gross settlement systems integrator tech partner for the Bank of England. Accenture is an investor into Ripple. Accenture facilitates RippleNet installs for clients, and Accenture has partnered with Ripple for multiple cross-border initiatives as well. And we can see by the rhetoric on their banking blog where everything is going from a big picture standpoint. It's not too difficult to understand. These are the minutes of the meeting from September 2020, which were just posted 2 or 3 days ago on Bank of England's website, discussing Accenture. And an update on the program included the appointment of Accenture as technology delivery partner to the renewed real-time gross settlement system. Following an 18-month public procurement process, the program has now progressed to the delivery phase. Following the agreement of the high-level technical designs and the plan, the bank has moved from designing the real-time gross settlement service, the renewed one, to building it with Accenture and using, quote-unquote, the latest technology. It's interesting to me that we see 3 months lag between whenever these are announced publicly and whenever these actual meeting occurred. And, you know, we know Accenture's background as well. We can see right here, if you don't know and you're not aware, Bank of England has obviously trialed RippleNet. Their renewed real-time gross settlement system interoperates with distributed ledger technology, which I have presented before on this channel. This is something else that's interesting. This is from the European Central Bank. This is Project Stella, but they directly mention the Bank of England's trials here. And I want you to pay attention to the way that they word this, and I want you to pay attention to the footnotes here, okay? In the context of analysis around the renewal of their real-time gross settlement service, Bank of England explored wider interoperability, including a synchronized settlement of real-time gross settlement payments with payments in other systems. That's footnote 9 there. This is the blueprint for a new real-time gross settlement service for the UK. In that same context of that study, a proof of concept was conducted on synchronized settlement of payments on 2 different ledgers under a high-value cross-border scenario. Footnote 10. What did they use? Exploring the synchronized settlement of payments using the interledger protocol. Now, this document, Project Stella, was released last year, June 2019. So this is just a continuation here. So they're directly tying in everything. They know Ripple. They know certainly what Ripple is. They know certainly what interledger protocol is. Value agnostic protocol, right? It doesn't care. They certainly know what XRP is. We've seen Bank for International Settlements release a document stating that XRP leapfrogs slow and legacy correspondent systems. I don't even really need to get into this at this point with XRP. I think we all know what XRP is. And then Bank for International Settlements. Today, this is a 343-page document, financial market development, monetary policy, and financial stability in emerging market economies, basically stating that these exotic corridors will certainly probably be the first movers with central bank digital currencies because they need them. And these, the developed markets, you know, they could potentially do it, but, you know, there's not the necessity to do that immediately right now, but it's coming regardless. Across the board, the rhetoric, it's not even rhetoric anymore. It's writing on the wall. We know what they're doing. It's just a matter of time, right? All of these organizations globally are tied in together. They all it's weird, like when you see certain rhetoric come out, like, you know, even watching Sam's video, regardless if you agree with him or disagree, and the IMF talking about AI for social credit scores and basically farming your internet browsing data to develop that. It's like weird, like that comes out, and then the European Union says like, what if AI does blah blah blah, and blockchain for AI? You know, like it's almost like there's triggered things to come out like at certain times. I'm not trying to get too tinfoil hatty. I don't have to, because it's literally right in front of our faces. Most people are too worried about what's going on in the world right now, which is understandable. We're all dealing with this past year in our own ways, and I feel for every single one of you. My only thing is, you know, if you're watching this, you're probably aware of what's actually happening behind the scenes. You know, I try to make people as knowledgeable as much as possible from myself, like even in my personal life, as to what's going on. And it seems like nobody cares. So it is what it is. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep researching because I know what's coming, and I'm going to try to capitalize off of certain things. And I appreciate all you guys' support, all the follows, everything else. I apologize for being away from making videos for a few days, and from Patreon as well. I was like completely swamped with work for the past week and a half. I'm off for like 13 days starting Wednesday, so I hope to get a lot more information and research out to you all. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you had a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you happen to be in the world, and I will talk to you tomorrow if there is news to present. All right, later.